Hey gang, welcome to the TRS and Bauco Squadcast, and this week we're going to be having a little fun and rocking out, and finally getting into our first three-way conversation. As we interview different people from the team. So I'm Eric. You are
Ken here.
Ken.
Jonelle.
Jonelle. All right.
Yep.
Well, we always kind of start, Jonelle, with some basics. So tell us, who are you and where are you from? That kind of basic stuff.
Okay. I'm Jonelle Nace. Right now I live in Toms River, New Jersey, but I grew up in Pottsville, Pennsylvania, which most people know for Yuengling beer. So we're big drinkers up there. I've been in the military for 12 years, active duty military. I've had 2 tours in Iraq, and I've been doing triathlons for about 3 years now. I didn't really get into it until I moved from the West Coast over to here, but I've done a lot of half marathons prior to that, and 5Ks, 10Ks. So.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
So that gives me a question. How did you get into swimming? I found that to be the hardest thing, also coming from a runner.
Well, I got into the swimming thing, I would absolutely have to say last, because I started relaying for triathlons over here. Because I was like, let me start, people are like, well, have you ever heard about RWB, which is Team Red, White, and Blue, with being in the military? And they're like, if you can run for us, why don't you relay in a triathlon? And I said, okay, cool. So I started doing the runs for being the runner for them. And then they're like, well, why don't you try biking with us and swimming? And I'm like, I can't swim other than what I had to do for boot camp. So how am I going to do this right now? And I started taking lessons, and I was like, why don't I do a sprint triathlon? So I went out there, and I didn't train as good as what I could have done, but I went out there and winged it on a bike that was like 3 sizes too big for me. Didn't really know how to shift with it really well. And I made the most out of my first triathlon 3 years ago. And now I have an awesome triathlon bike, and I've relayed for 2 half Ironmans, and it's been an amazing experience. And I went for my first full Ironman last year, but I DNF'd. So, I mean, at least I went out for it.
Nice.
Yeah, at least you tried.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But swimming is my absolute torture. So, and I'm in my last year of doctorate school for sports psychology, and I will be the first one to tell you I'm the biggest head case you've ever met. I can give advice to people all day long, but when I have to take my own, it's like the worst.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you kind of told us how you got into triathlon by basically helping relay and crew people and stuff like that. Was there any influence that got you started, like a specific person, or just the excitement of it?
Well, when I was first doing races, I met a couple people that were retired vets or that sort of people. And then I met somebody through a mutual friend that got me into the whole triathlon things. Her name was Jennifer Steiner. And she basically got me, I guess you would say, connected with a triathlon group down here that was all females called Jersey Girls Stay Strong Multisport. And Moira Haran was the person that really motivated me into going out for even relaying for half Ironmans and going for a full Ironman. She was absolutely, I would say she would be the person that got me into this the most.
Wonderful.
So, and she's on the Women for Tri board, and she's well known. So she's not only has been an influencer for me, but just for female triathletes around the world. So it's pretty cool.
Super cool.
Wow.
So what got you connected with the team?
I've been seeing some chatter across Instagram and seeing the posts on there, and I was like, wow, look at these awesome gals and girls that are just going out there and having fun. And I wanted to be a part of a team that it didn't matter if you were elite or you were a novice, but you had that camaraderie of everybody. And it kind of reminded me of the guys I work with at work, that, it doesn't matter how awesome you are at doing a certain skill or task, that they were there to motivate you. And I felt that that's what this team was. And you don't have that camaraderie, I don't feel on every triathlon team that's out there. So I think it's kind of cool how we have like the elite pro team, but then we also have people that are novice, and you still kind of feel like you are a pro in an aspect, because everybody gets treated like equally, no matter if you're really good or you might be really shitty like I am at swimming. So
don't worry, I'm right there beside you. You'll probably lap me in the swim.
You never know. I don't know how I muscled my way through Ironman Wisconsin on the swim, but it was pretty good until my beacon stopped right before the end of it. But yeah.
Did you do the 1 loop or the 2 loop course at Madison?
So that was the 1 loop for the swim. So it wasn't bad on the way down. It was real calm, but on the way back, it was super, super choppy. And at that point in time, there was more and more people that kept coming. And I think my anxiety got the best of me out there too.
Yeah. I did it when it was 2 loops, and that boat ramp just made me want to like seek shelter.
Oh yeah. I was so close. I could see like the whole shoreline, and I was like, please don't pull me out from the water. I swear, if I can get out of the water right now, I can make it on the bike. I'm such a good biker. And it was kind of really disheartening just walking around with your wetsuit halfway down and still hearing people getting called as it came through. I was like, it would probably be, in my whole career of doing races, is probably my worst experience, but it also made me want to go back and like redeem myself one day.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
So you're on TRSracing.
Yes.
How many seasons have you been with the team now?
This is my very first season with the team.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's been a great experience.
So you already got your team gear, right?
And we have a pretty awesome kit. So I think out of every kit that I've ever owned, this is the best looking one.
Yes. Were you bold enough to go with the red kit this year?
Mine's the black one. Oh. So, yeah, I wasn't that bold. Maybe next year if I make it on the team.
Well, we're real discerning, you know.
Right. I mean, red's a good color. I mean, it's very bold, so.
Oh yeah. Well, you got the attitude. I think you could go red. I think you.
I like it. Red's one of my favorite colors. So.
So I'm looking at your schedule here. I don't know if you got it updated. Is July? Is that going to be your first try of the season?
Yeah. So far, I'm going to do a couple sprints this year. I'm really trying to focus on getting my speed and my time down a little bit, so that way I can focus on some of the bigger tries next year. Maybe go for another half Ironman next year. But I feel like it's going back to basics this year, if that makes sense. You know, after last year, and I think I really raised the bar last year pretty high, maybe a little too high for myself and expectations. But I think in order to be the best person that you can, sometimes you have to fail. Mm-hmm. Maybe once, maybe twice, in order to get to the goal where you need to be. So I think I set the bar a little high last year, but this year I just added the other day, I'm going to do my first marathon with the Chicago Marathon in October. So that's going to be my biggest race of all, but maybe do an Olympic this year. So I'm kind of trying to have fun with triathlons this year, you know, kind of winging it a little bit more maybe than some people are. So.
Well, you're up on the East Coast.
The best way to train for the Chicago Marathon? Oh, I'm sorry.
What were you saying?
No. Best way to train for the Chicago Marathon is to chew a lot of Wrigley's gum and eat a lot of pizza.
Oh, is that right? That's good advice right there. I mean, anybody that's a triathlete, unless you're on a specific diet, I mean, who doesn't love pizza?
Oh.
And then, so.
Right.
Perfect race
Chicago deep dish.
Yeah. I know, right?
What's your Midwest connection? You're talking Chicago and Madison and that give.
Well, I originally went to Wisconsin because it was obviously, you have September 11th, so that's a big connection with the military. But I lost a good friend of mine in the Extortion 17 mission that happened a few years ago in 2011. And the girl that I raced with, she lost her best friend in the same accident. So I actually met her in San Diego like a couple months after we both lost our friends. And we've had this like instant friendship since then. And when I got into triathlons, one day she texted me and she's like, hey, I got into triathlons, but wouldn't it be cool if we did an Ironman together, you know? I know you've been doing some shorter distance, like Olympic distance races, but what about if you went for a full, like you just went big or go home kind of aspect in it? And I was like, oh, I don't know about this. I don't know if I'm ready for a full Ironman at this point in time. And I was actually on a plane going to Japan at the time, and I was like, you know what, I might as well do this. If I'm going to do it, there's no other time. I'm not married right now. I don't have kids. Why not put all my training into something that is going to mean something to me and it's going to be worthwhile, and if I fail, I fail. So we went out there and it was a great experience. She became an Ironman. I got to watch her come across the line, and, either way, we both got to, honor their memories in a cool little way. So
awesome.
So my helmet's painted in their memory and stuff. So so are my shoes. So a guy out of Florida did them for me. So it was a really cool experience.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, what's maybe the coolest thing you've done since you've joined our team? I know you haven't been on that long, but we always like to ask, like, what's maybe the coolest or craziest thing you've done since you became a member of TRSracing here?
I would say the coolest thing that I have been doing is really getting out of my little comfort zone and trying to get more people involved in the sport of triathlon. Yeah. I didn't realize I can talk to almost anybody wherever I go. And then when I start bringing up that I'm a triathlete, they're like, what? You're in the military and you do these triathlons? I just don't get it. When do you have time? And I'm like, you just make time. So I think the craziest thing since I've been on the team, since it's only been since the fall that I've been on there, I haven't really had much time as compared to some of the other people, maybe. But I was a keynote speaker for Microsoft, and I got to talk to these young girls about not just my job in the military, but a woman, what it is to be a woman, and doing triathlons, volunteering, doing all the stuff I'm doing, and having 2 degrees and almost a 3rd degree at the same time. It's kind of impressive that I've done all these things in life and I haven't had anything really hold me back or set me at the bottom of the totem pole, because I've been there a lot, but I use my experiences to teach other people. So by being on this team, I feel like I've had that opportunity to meet new people, and also, for them to hear my story, and maybe I can help them a little bit too.
Oh, very cool.
Nice. You mentioned you're on Team RWB also. So have you had a chance to meet anybody from TRSracing or from Team RWB, other places that you've traveled?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've met, wherever you go, it seems like there's new RWB members there. So it's kind of a cool experience with that. I haven't met anybody else from TRSracing, but maybe with the Chicago Marathon and me traveling a little bit more for some of these triathlons this summer, I'll get to meet some of y'all, because you all are great people. I've never met people that treated you like your family like this. I mean, you have it, and you meet, I just feel like triathletes in general, you have this big connection. No matter if you don't know somebody or not, you're giving them a hug, a house. You could be sweaty and it's pouring down your face, and you're like, here, come here. This is awesome. Let me embrace this.
Well, you're on the East Coast, so, and I know you said halves aren't in your future right now, but there's a race in New York that we typically do, the Tough Man New York, in the September time. So if you want to at least come cheer for people, that'd be a spot to drink beer and look at about $1 million worth of bicycles in a shack that probably cost $5,000.
Hey, I would definitely come on, cheer some people. I'm all about it, because I think that's what it is. Sometimes you got to sit on the sidelines and cheer on other people, because that's what they need you to do.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, we're the reigning relay champions up there too, right?
Yeah. I give all the credit to Tad for his phenomenal swim that was canceled right before he got in the water because the fog was so deep. There was literally a guy standing on the shore with flares, signaling people in.
Oh, that's great! That's awesome.
So, but no,
it kind of reminds me of some of these cheerleaders out there. Like when you've done Ragnar's, I've done 5 Ragnar's so far.
Oh,
yeah, that's my
so you
other
got a t-shirt for every day of the week.
I know, probably too many stickers were on the back of my old car, so I had to get rid of it.
My car's not broken. It just has too many stickers.
Too many Ragnar stickers.
That's awesome.
In Tad's defense, I have swam with him. He's a really good swimmer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Tad's a stud. He's awesome.
That's great.
He would crew you any race you want to be at. So, anything you want to share with us for the good of the team?
I guess the only thing I want to share with people is that it doesn't matter like what you've been through. Everybody has a story, you know. I've for the longest time, it wasn't easy for me to join the military. I actually weighed at my heaviest about 212, 214 pounds before I came into the military. And I actually got denied twice at MEPS before I could join. So physical fitness has been something that I had to work hard at, and it's still a hard thing for me to deal with now, even being a triathlete, you know. Because anybody that has trained, and you probably can both account for this, when you're doing longer endurance races, especially when you're going for the Ironmans and half Ironmans, you sometimes that scales tends to creep up on you, you know, and you have this fight with it, like, why should I be gaining weight right now when you might have to? Because I can tell you from my Ironman training this past year, I gained 15 pounds, and it was like a hard thing for me to kind of swallow, you know, stepping on that scale as a prior fat kid, you know. So I think that my story can really help somebody, because whether you're a guy or girl, I think we all kind of have these little battles within ourselves, you know, whether it's, you know, food for somebody or weight for somebody, or am I making enough time for my family? We each have our struggles every day. So I think it's great that we have one another to get through this.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. We appreciate your time, and we know you were up early this morning, so.
Oh, no problem at all. Thank you for having me, and it's been a real pleasure meeting both of you.
Yeah, hope to see you out on the race course sometime, and I'll look up when Chicago Marathon is this year. I don't live too far. I'm about 2 hours drive from there, so.
Oh, great.
Maybe I'll get a chance to throw pizza at you while you're running.
Oh, I would love that. I think it's definitely going to be an experience.
Yeah, maybe I can pizza or beer hand up. You choose, and we'll be
or
good.
Both. I might take both.
There you go.
All right.
Awesome. Well, it was great
talking to you, Jonelle.
You too. Have a great
Jonelle.
evening.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye.